Hi, and welcome to the Teaching Corner. Today we're going to be talking about using touch points for subtraction. In our last video we used touch points for addition, and now we're going to be doing the reverse and subtracting. One thing that I didn't mention in my last video is these little dotted lines like this help students with placement of their numbers. If you have a student that has a hard time keeping their numbers in the right place, you may need to prompt them by drawing the lines to show these are the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. If you have a student that doesn't have difficulty with that, again, you don't need to add that scaffolding, but if you have a student whose numbers get all over the place, this might be helpful. I got a little excited when I started writing this and I forgot to do the easiest one first, so we're going to start in the middle of our paper. So for subtraction, what you're going to have the student do is the same thing that they did in addition. We're going to start with the number on the top, and this time we're counting backwards. I know that there's a lot of different programs that teach, start here and count up. The difficulty for these students, remember, the reason we're using touch points is because they need a visual representation. So they need to touch them and count backwards to show how many they're taking away. So we would say the large number, 7, and then we're going to count backwards from 7. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Now again, this works for numbers more than one number. In this case, I do tell my students, you don't have to use touch points. Touch points is a tool, and if you happen to know the answer already, you don't have to use it. So in 9 minus 9, if your student knows, if I have 9 things and I take 9 away, my answer is 0, then just have them write the 0. If they don't remember that and they need the touch points, then of course they can say 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So either way works. Then they would touch the 5 and count backwards. 5, 4, 3. Now, on a problem like this, I would encourage my students to start with 14 and just subtract 6. They can borrow, but they're going to get the exact same number if they borrow. This would become a 0 and this would become a 14. So I encourage my students to do it the easy way without having to borrow first. If for some reason your child does not understand that, of course you could borrow. So 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Just with addition, same thing with subtraction. We can use large numbers that don't require any regrouping. So 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And then hopefully they would know that that was 2, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Then I encourage my students to count from the very back, count 3 numbers so they know where their comma goes. 1, 2, 3, comma. Now, once your student starts doing numbers like this, where the top number is smaller than the bottom number, we have to regroup. If your student struggles with that, you can prompt them with boxes on the top if you need to. So we can say 4 is smaller than 7, we have to borrow, the 7 becomes a 6, this becomes a 14. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Some teachers like for their students to cross out this 4 and write 14 above it. For my students, often that gets confusing, so we'll just write the number right there, but you do what works in your classroom. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And then lastly, again, in large numbers, it works the same way. So 4 is smaller than 5, we borrow, this becomes a 6, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 6, 5, 4, 3, 8 is smaller than 9, so we borrow, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. And then 2 minus 2 is 0, so I tell my students if it's a 0 at the front, we don't have to write it. And we don't need a comma because there's only 3 numbers. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please like and share, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye! So even teachers make mistakes, and my cameraman noticed that I forgot to write the answer to the second problem. We figured out that 14 minus 6 equals 8. Oops.